Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. I got Jonathan B. Smith lined up. We call him the Chief Optimizer. Success through simplicity is what he does. He is a certified EOS implementer. And one of the cool things he does is bring some interesting guests out there that are people that he thinks are leaders in what they do, are people that are utilizing the U.S. approach. Just a lot of different unique guests that we always enjoy. Jonathan, go ahead and introduce yourself real quick, and then go ahead and introduce your guests.
Yeah, good morning. Jonathan Smith, founder and CEO of Chief Optimizer. I help entrepreneurs get what they want from their business by implementing the entrepreneurial operating system.
Yep.
Jeff Whittle, a colleague of mine from Dallas, Texas, is on this morning, and we think we're on to something really interesting. Jeff, would you like to introduce yourself?
Good morning, guys. Hi, Jeff Whittle in Dallas. I'm the CEO of a boutique consulting practice called Cogris, and as does Jonathan, we help businesses implement the entrepreneurial operating system. And as we've talked, Jonathan and I, we've identified a model that we think makes a lot of sense for business leaders to think about how they go about getting external resources to help them improve.
Okay, tell us about that company there. Give us a website real quick. Spell it out.
Sure,
spell it out for us.
Yeah, www.cogris, COGRIS.com.
Okay, COGRIS.com. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Yeah, so, Jeff, we talked a little bit about entrepreneurs and how lonely it is at the top. Can you tell me a little bit about what it means for an entrepreneur alone to be at risk?
Sure, absolutely. Risk, of course, is ubiquitous in an entrepreneurial world, and a lot of those risks are obvious. There's financial risk, there's market risk, there's risk around the viability of their business model. But what we see a lot is that the greatest risk, frankly, is that many of these entrepreneurs just don't know what they're doing from the standpoint of running a business. They're great at producing their product or delivering their service, but that's very, very different from the discipline around running their business. And so when we work with entrepreneurs, we realize that behind these great ideas and the passion, frankly, is often a serious gap in business acumen. And those entrepreneurs who are alone, frankly, are just at risk to learn all the very difficult lessons, sometimes fatal lessons, the hard way. So that's what we mean when we say alone is really at risk.
Yeah, that's interesting. How are you guys similar or different? You guys appear very different by looking at your sites. I mean, very similar. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that. We frankly think there are three primary ways that entrepreneurs and emerging business leaders can go leverage the experience of people who have been there before, and those three service lines that we focus on and that, frankly, you and I have talked about as a great model are, first of all, traditional coaching. Secondly, peer advice, which can be very powerful. And then finally, the operating system that's the framework for the way the business is run. And so that's what we focus on is if an entrepreneur is in pain, we want to understand what it is that can help them and then hopefully be a good resource for them to get to a better place.
Yeah, very good. Jonathan?
Yeah, so I am a little different than Jeff in that my focus is traditionally in the Washington, D.C. market and the New York market, and I am only an implementer of the entrepreneurial operating system. Jeff actually does some business coaching and runs a peer forum for a group called the Alternative Board.
Okay, very good. Your next question, Jonathan.
The next question relates to coaching. And, Jeff, I'd really like to distinguish, what do we mean by coaching and why is it different than an operating system and why does this company need both or an entrepreneur need both?
Yeah, thanks, Jonathan. And the interesting thing is some companies would benefit from both and some wouldn't. And when we talk to people about coaching, we essentially ask them if they would benefit from two primary things. One is just experience. The best coaches have been there. They've walked in the shoes of the entrepreneur. They have experience and rings around their trunk. And so they, first of all, bring that perspective of having been there. The second, and frankly, the more important thing about coaching is coaches need to be candid about gaps and ways to attack opportunities that they see for the entrepreneur to improve. And so the best coaches, we think, bring real brutal honesty to what needs to be done, and then hold the client accountable to do things that, frankly, they just wouldn't get done on their own without that accountability.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. Got to wrap it up. Do you want to give your website, though, one more time? Go ahead and give yours, and then I'll have Jonathan give his.
Thanks. I appreciate it. We're at www.cogris, COGRIS.com.
COGRIS.com, building better businesses. I like that tagline there. And how about you, Jonathan? How do we learn more about what you're up to?
I'm at chiefoptimizer.com. So that's www.CHIEFOPTIMIZER.com.
Thanks to both of you for being with us.
Appreciate it, Kevin.
When we come back, much more for you. Do want to remind you, best content here shows up over there at USATheReview.com. And this is The Price of Business.